Welcome back, everybody. Finally, to another episode of the Jodo Cast, your Star Wars gaming podcast. This is episode 147, I think. My name is Evan
Somewhere
Lewis.
around there.
It's, it's up there. It's over there somewhere. Yes, Evan Lewis, this guy, that if you're a patron, you can see
Return of the
me.
King. You can't, though. We stopped doing that, remember?
No, they could be watching us live while
live.
we're recording.
Yeah,
Yes.
Only live.
Even more exclusive than it used to be.
That's right. And of course, I am joined by Leo Andry.
They sure are.
And Joe Latovsky.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
And Kurt Larson.
Hello. That's still topical? Not really. That's fine.
It's still the best.
I have no
hello in Star Wars.
Hello.
Oh no.
I'm surprised y'all haven't organized your intros just to mess with me even more. It's like, okay, this time when Evan does the intros, here's what we're gonna do. But no.
We should do one where Evan's all like, and it's Leo, and Joe, you answer like you're me. And
see, that's brilliant. That's what I'm talking about.
Just gaslight Evan until he goes insane.
It's like y'all don't even think about this beforehand.
That's the motto of our podcast.
And we are joined by the gracious people of the internet who have deigned to support us through all of this. And it's all of our friends over at patreon.com/thejodocast, the best people in the world. I mean, that's it. That's all it needs. I mean, that's the podcast right there, everybody. Our Patreon folks.
You know what? We could.
So that could be. That'd be a lot more efficient. We could put out episodes way more faster.
Yeah, we could do Twitch streaming.
And
what if we did
Patreon and then said bye?
Yeah, and we could have a Twitch stream where literally all we do is shout out the chat and people who sub. No other content besides going, oh, thanks for the bits or whatever they do on Twitch. Just the whole content is just giving them that gratification that they throw money for.
They're all doing the Leonardo DiCaprio, coming out of his couch, pointing at the screen, like, that's me. I did it. I did something. Yeah, that is half of Twitch streams. Thank you, patron. That is literally all they do. That's why we're not on there.
I'm saying we could make it, the entirety instead of 90% of the content.
Everything is content. Thank you for validating my comment. That is so sweet.
See? He's
all right.
Telling us that all these content people do is respond to their fans. And that's what we're doing, and he's feeling good about it.
And that's validating our strategy of validating him.
Yeah, everybody's happy. Except
and
for everybody listening.
If you listeners want to know how you can feel validated.
Yeah, this is the only... Is there an empty hole in your heart? It's the only way to fill it.
Give us money. It's like prosperity doctrine, but for podcasts.
This is your seed money. We'll give you our seed. Wait.
Whoa,
Back up. I don't know what y'all were thinking. I was talking about growing in your life. And speaking of growing, let's talk about how y'all have been growing the Star Wars gaming hobby with what y'all have been playing in the time since we've last gotten together, because it's been a while. And since I'm leading this goat rope, I am not going to go first.
I go first.
Okay, go.
Legion and Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. And is that it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we did one when we recorded the Clone Wars Pandemic episode, so I don't know if that's still relevant.
But you didn't number the episode, so it doesn't
probably. Probably just. Oh no, we played some Empire at War. Kurt and I did.
Oh my goodness!
And that was very fun. Good game.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe Lego Star Wars Empire at War and Legion.
Seems like a big list to me. Because what I've been playing is nothing except
You've been-
Empire at War with
You've done some
Joe.
painting,
Okay.
too. That's like
That counts.
If painting counts as playing,
Of course
I'm
it
way
does.
behind on painting.
it's part of the Legion hobby,
Yeah.
soon to be Shatterpoint hobby.
Oh boy, we got to talk about that too. And we talked about that.
Yeah,
we all.
We talked about it.
Shatterpoint.
That's all I played. So
Okay.
basically nothing. But what about Leo? I'll pass it
Leo.
off to you.
I've played some Legion. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been trying out the dynamic exit scenario, and that's actually really cool. I like it. I actually like it a lot better than the Dianoga one. Like that one just sort of felt like you were just sort of tossing the Dianoga back and forth at each other. And it was kind of fun, but just sort of like, eh. Whereas like this one actually has a scenario happening.
More strategy to it.
Yeah, where it's like, the one player, you need to basically bust it into like the defender's base, find the cargo you need. There's a bunch of different cargo tokens out. You have to find the one that you need to win the game.
Mhm.
And then you need to disable the defense turrets at the base. So it's like, I assume that they would then be blocking your escape if you don't disable them. And then you need to get that piece of cargo into the other player's deployment zone before the end of round 6.
Wow.
So it's like a whole scenario you play through, and it's like I said, I don't know, it's really interesting. It's a lot more fun and dynamic than the Dianoga one.
Yeah, it sounds complicated but interesting. I mean, it almost sounds like an Imperial Assault mission or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels more like that than some of these other ones. And there was some stuff like a couple of those like monthly scenarios that Fantasy Flight put out for all of like 3 months before they gave up on that.
Oh.
They had a couple like that were similar in a way, but I think this has been one of the most interesting ones I've played. I'm still kind of sad that the OP kits don't come with more, I don't know, like things like prizey type stuff, like acrylic tokens and stuff like that. But at the same time, getting this new way to play the game is really cool, and something that I guess I don't know how much this was developed, had like started before AMG took over or not, but at any rate, it's one thing I'm willing to give them props for.
That's
and I
generous.
I haven't really been playing some Star Wars cards lately, but I stopped in at a store today, and he's kind of like doing there was a store doing an end of the year inventory clearance. Look at all these cards I bought. You listeners, you can't see this. If you were a patron, you could, but I got like a big fucking pile of cards right
now. Drop them on the desk in front of the mic.
I'm not gonna drop like these.
We need to hear the sound on the microphone.
I'm not gonna drop them like these Theed Palace packs. They sell for like $50, $60 a piece.
And how much did you pay for them a piece?
$3 a piece.
Wow.
Wow, you paid MSRP from circa 1999.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some
think about
Palace.
Inflation. It's
I've got
a good deal.
I've got some Premier Unlimited that I'm throwing all over the floor, but that's okay. I got tons of those already. Anyway, we've even got some of the WotC game here.
Ooh.
A whole bunch of Sith Rising. I'm actually really excited about all these WotC ones because I don't have hardly anything of this game, and everything I do have is just from like the first like base set. So there's gonna be lots of new stuff in these packs that I've never seen before.
Now, listeners can't see, but Leo's lifting this huge stack above his head. He's straining. He can barely lift it up, and Oh, he dropped it. That was a loud sound. Wow. You can hear
wait,
the sound.
he's stumbling he's stumbling around his room. Oh,
I
he's
forget.
knocking into his shelves.
Altogether, it ended up being about 70, 80 packs of cards. I forget exactly that I bought. So,
And how many
So
dollars?
like $210.
yeah, about that.
Oh, about that. Okay.
It was.
And it would have cost you like $2,000 on eBay.
So yeah, I'm gonna sell like 5 packs of cards and just totally pay for the whole purchase.
Wow.
Videos of this stuff win.
The
So
future.
So really, you didn't spend money; you saved money, according to Patron Midcastle.
That's what I tell my wife.
Sound financial advice. This should be on CNBC.
Yeah, it stonks.
Star stonks. I guess it's over to me. I don't really play games anymore. No, that's not true. I occasionally get to play games with my friends when I remember to say, "Hey, we're friends, remember? You should come over and play games." I got to play Warcry with Christian and another of our friends. Well, Gavin, whom Leo has met. So we played Warcry, and that was fun because it's a very fast game and it's very intuitive. And then I've been painting warriors from amongst the stars, but there are hammers involved. So, yep, that's me. I've still got a pile of everything we pre-ordered back in summertime to work on.
Well, you just gotta do what I've been doing and paint way too much. Because my zombie side Kickstarter came in, which is 1.5 million minis. I'm like, if I want to paint these, got to catch up on Legion. So I've been like doing like a unit a day, more or less, and like.
Hey, that's good progress.
You could just not paint your zombicide.
I mean,
There's
I
always
could.
that.
I mean, you
But
could.
it's cool.
Yeah.
We'll see when I catch up on Legion.
It's something. It's something. I know some people who would do that. They would just stick it on their pile of unpainted shit.
Those people should be judged and shamed.
Speaking of Leo, your tower is looking pretty low. But,
yeah,
but
that
extra
is
wide.
a
Well, yeah.
freaky tower.
Eventually, I mean, this happened a little while ago.
Yeah,
I had to.
It's getting cold up there. Okay.
We had to. It got too tall, so we had to increase its girth, or else it was going to just tip over.
It's not small, it's thin. No, it's thick. You're right. It's like a tuna can. Okay. Enough of that. Enough of those sick jokes, Leo. I think what's most appropriate for today, which is the tail end, the most tailest endest of the month of Noviembre 2022, would be to talk about the fantastic, magnificent, awesome, super fun, happy slide that was Andor, the latest Star Wars live action series on the D+. However, that all having been noted, I have not watched it yet. I've watched one episode and it was like, hey, I know that guy. Oh, he's a little droid buddy. That's cute. Oh, he's running around. It's like, actually
extra weird because they put out 3 episodes on day 1.
Right.
You could have at least watched 3 of them.
I could have, but I didn't. I watched episode 1 just like the other day. So, yeah. There's that. So I'm going to leave you all to discuss what parts of Andor, specifically Andor the series, you would like to see join Star Wars Legion. I think that's what y'all are going to talk about.
Right? What parts of Andor the man we would like to see in Legion.
Oh, you know what parts. Yaba. You want to see the Yaba. No, we can only have that in Imperial Assault. Okay, that's okay. So we want to see Andor in Imperial Assault. so that we can have him and Yaba join
They
forces.
can bring it back from the dead. It could happen. You never know.
Why not? You know what? One of these days, Ghost Galaxy is going to be a big boy and purchase all of the licenses that CTP sold to Asmodee, and we will be right back where we were circa 2015, the golden age. So with that, who's going to take over the middle chair?
That's Joe.
I'll do it.
Okay, you have the con.
Okay, so we got to get all this discussion out before Evan comes back.
I will be back in 45 minutes.
Start the clock.
Have fun. Bye-bye.
Okay, he's gone. Let's talk about how fucked up it is that he hasn't watched it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, what the fuck?
So we've already got, let's get this out of the way. Cassian already exists in Legion. And what we're going to be doing here today is just looking at stuff from the show, saying, would this work in Legion? Would it be fun in Legion? How would it function in Legion? Just making stuff up, speculating, having fun, because the show is cool and the game is cool, so why not talk about it?
And I'll say up front, just as like a little disclaimer, I don't think that we're saying that any of these units are necessarily likely to be added by AMG. Like we're not speculating that they will be added, but we're speculating that we think they're cool. And like, what if they were added?
I will be very disappointed if somebody goes, well, the Jodo cast said that B2 is going to be coming to Legion soon. No. We're just saying, if he did, what would his stats be?
I wouldn't be disappointed if somebody said that, because that meant that people were actually listening.
That's true.
Nobody's listening. Nobody's listening.
That's a quote from the show.
You know what? Let's actually start with Andor, with Cassian.
Well,
just because, I think it would be interesting to get to sort of reflect the version of him in the show, to get more of a like a mercenary rather than he would be a mercenary, still only probably takeable by the rebels. Yeah, but it would be like I said, I think it would be really interesting to have a mercenary version of him that would maybe sort of reflect the more.
He's still reluctant. He hasn't fully got on board.
Yeah.
So like thematically,
what if so maybe he would have an independent keyword.
Yeah. I mean, he would have an independent keyword. He obviously wouldn't have teamwork with K2 or Entourage or whichever one it is. I forget. No, it's not Entourage. It's teamwork. Isn't it?
Teamwork.
Well, K2 is the one who has the teamwork card, so it would still.
Maybe there'd have to be like an errata or something that it doesn't apply. I don't know, but thematically you wouldn't want him to, right? Because it's kind of before that.
Yeah.
I think it could be interesting to since what we know of him in the show is that he sneaks into these Imperial facilities. They would never even think that someone like me would spit in their food or whatever, right? So arguably he could have the incognito keyword.
Or infiltrate.
Yeah. Some way for him to sneak into this battlefield. If you wanted to most strongly associate him with going into an Imperial facility, grabbing loot and leaving, I could see incognito and secret mission. He could still be good at shooting and stuff. He could have his bar pistol, but he's especially going I'm not here on the battlefield necessarily. I'm here to go and grab. And we saw that in that finale too. He's I'm not going to go walk out on the street and shoot these troopers. I'm going to go rescue this person, right? So he's kind of doing his own thing to try and if he can sneak in and do his mission.
Yeah, I think secret mission would be a good one. Like you said, he's not going to have the long range rifle future Cassian does.
Yeah, I don't think we see him use anything bigger than a pistol in the show. Right? I don't think so.
Yeah, well, I mean, unless you count I think technically isn't an E11, called a blaster rifle, even though it's
you're right though. He uses one of those during the heist. So but still, pistol seems like his main
I'd say
thing.
just give him the Briar, make it I don't know, make it like 2 red dice, but no Pierce, no Sharpshooter. Maybe Sharpshooter. He's a pretty. I feel like maybe he'd just get Gunslinger, like a shittier version of Han.
Yeah, maybe. And I don't know what he would have for command cards. I don't know, something cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
You'd have to do one for like what's that he says, you know, like before they jump out of the prison, where it's like you know, no
Whether
matter
we
what
live
happens,
or die, we made it.
yeah, something like, you know, like I don't know what the card would do, but that would definitely
They're
be
always
a quote.
quotes. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, I feel like most of the really good quotes from that show came from other characters, specifically like Luthen. And
Well, one of his best ones is from there, where he's like, "I'd rather die fighting them than giving them what they want."
My one idea for a command card that just came to me would be something that would let him like quickly kind of exfiltrate, maybe something that would give him the disengage keyword or something, because what we see is that the Empire is always trying to catch him and he keeps like slipping away and getting away, right? So something like that I think could be a good command card. This is the turn you thought you were going to get him and he actually like got away from you. That could be kind of cool. I think it would also be interesting if he got B2 as like a counterpart or whatever it's called, like C-3PO, you know, like an upgrade.
Yeah, counterpart
for him.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just
I don't know what it would do.
I don't know.
But...
I don't know if B2 really
not a battle guy
belongs with him, because like that's the thing is B2 is always like, I want to come with you, and he's like, no, you hang out with mom. Bye. You know, so like that's the thing. He's always leaving B2 behind, actually. So
I think you could maybe do something interesting with like, oh, B2 has like a power gauge or power token, and he's like
that's
running
what I was
every
thinking
round.
too. Yeah, every like he only has X number of moves or X number of actions before he's functionally useless. Yeah. Unless he like returns to the deployment zone or something to recharge.
And then B2 could have a command card where he shows Marva's hologram and inspires the army to rebel. I don't know.
Just gives everybody he has for one turn like inspired 10.
Yeah. Mostly I just want a B2 mini. I don't know what the stats would be, but it would be fun to have one.
The one that's kind of hard for me would be Luthen. Is like, could you make him work in Legion?
Because so much of the show is so different from the kind of experience Legion is like simulating.
Yeah. Now I do think, I mean,
he does run around shooting guys.
I mean, in the first,
well, I was gonna say, could you do him as sort of like a commander, but give him some kind of like long range abilities? Like he has abilities that only work, or like some of his command cards that only work like if he's in the your deployment zone or something like that. So he's like in the backfield behind everyone, sort of manipulating things. I don't know. I mean, that
sounds good. Yeah, like this. Yeah, these things only work if you're in a friendly deployment zone. Could also just be these things only work on people who are beyond range 2 or something.
Like, what if it only works if he's in an enemy deployment zone? You're trying to sneak again, and that's kind of like what we were just saying for Cassian, and maybe you could do that with Incognito or Secret Mission. A little weird for a commander, but maybe you could. Or it could be a command card type thing.
Or maybe
play this while you're in an
actually,
enemy deployment zone to do something.
He has was it like Incognito or whatever, so he can't be targeted, and he actually deploys in the enemy deployment zone. Like you don't use it. He would almost be like some of the pieces in, like some of those like Force Ghosts and stuff like that in like the old WotC minis game, where you don't really use them in combat.
They were kind of annoying.
Sort of there to like buff other people and stuff like that.
As long as there's not, because in that game, you could put one of those guys on certain maps that'd be like broom closets, and then you could stick a guy in there and then have R2 use this ability that permanently locks doors so that nobody could like get to your commander who is buffing everybody.
Sounds well balanced. But I do think that makes a lot of sense for Luthen, that he's like, or what we see in the show is he's like constantly undercover in disguise, and the Empire's like, we gotta find Axis, and they never can, even though he's like right under their nose. So yeah, like incognito, it's weird for a commander, but I think it'd be kind of cool. And like
Well, what
infiltrate
about
would be his ship landing him, behind enemy lines or whatever.
what about he just has he's got incognito, but all of his powerful command card abilities only work if he's still incognito. So if he's been discovered by
Yeah.
the enemy, now he's not effective.
That's really cool. You could do like a flaw card too. Maybe like if Luthen is not whatever the keyword would be.
Yeah, if he's beyond like range 1 of a friend,
then he gets
his
stressed,
deployments.
or yeah, I don't know.
We could make it work and feel like Luthen. At the end of the day, I don't know how great he would fit into the actual game of Legion, though. But he would definitely be a unique piece compared to what we have.
Yeah.
So my other idea with him that I think would be really cool is that we see him recruiting different factions. We see him hiring mercenaries and stuff. He could be a commander that comes with allies of convenience or underworld connections or whatever it's called. So like by default, he's good at working with mercenaries, whereas most rebel leaders would not be. And that would be interesting if rebels had more mercenary options to take in their army, because it's like, okay, here's one guy who's actually really good at working with these other faction units. And maybe he even has some other new keyword or command card that's like, when you order a mercenary, they still get independent, or something like that, where he's good at ordering mercenaries. That would be a really cool thematic thing that would really feel like him recruiting all these different factions.
One thing I think could work would be give him a 3-pip command card that has a divulge, and if you divulge it, he picks a friendly operative, and that operative gains the secret mission keyword if they don't already have it.
Yeah, that's cool. He can like parcel that out.
Right.
Yeah.
Which could be, maybe too powerful if you give it to Sabine or something, but still.
Yeah, it could be interesting though if you like put the right conditions on it.
Yeah.
One other command card thing I think would be really cool is his like booby trap thing that he did in the factory, the warehouse, whatever. Like some way for him to put out some bomb tokens somewhere. Maybe kind of like Cad Bane, how he puts the tokens out. Maybe different. I don't know. You have to put them on terrain or some other interesting condition like that. That's like, ooh, he's putting a trap to make an exit. That could be kind of thematic.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond that, I guess as far as other main characters, I mean, there's Mon Mothma. I don't think she's not going to fit at all.
That would be one you would keep in your deployment zone only.
Yeah. Now she could. Now, if we were playing, say, like the Game of Thrones tabletop, like minis game, she could fit, because they actually have they have a kind of an interesting mechanic where you have you can bring a couple like non-combatant characters, and rather than them deploying on the battlefield, they kind of sit off to the side of the table in reserve, and there's different like kingdom like influences, sort of like how there's like like the Hand of the King and Master Coin and things like that. And then you can play your like non-combatant people on those spaces on like a little like influence track type thing.
You could,
again, that's not Legion, so
right. And you could do, well, Mon Mothma from the show has no place in Legion because she's a senator. Mon Mothma from like later in her life when she's part of the rebellion, still she's not a combatant. But
yeah,
you could give her the non-combatant keyword like most of the medics have. And then I would say give her a keyword like high value target or something that if eliminated, she's basically like a bounty target. Like the enemy gets a point. But
I would feel like
powers are so good.
A later in life Mon Mothma would work better, almost as like sort of like some kind of an upgrade card. Like I don't even.
Yeah, I'm just thinking
really
like
know
if you
exactly how, or like a generic command card that any rebel commander could take.
Yeah,
and
like
and it would sort of
Imperial
like
Assault
represent
had like Rebel High Command, right? It's just a card with no unit with it. It still took up points of your list, which was interesting.
Yeah, I was just thinking because it would be weird and interesting if there was a unit that couldn't fight but gave you super good buffs. but was also worth a point to the enemy if they killed him. So you're playing the second game of like protect the leader in our deployment zone or something.
And then she could also have a counterpart for Perrin, and then he has like abilities where he like gets drunk or something.
Yeah, that's her flaw cards.
Yeah, you would get like a victory point every time he drinks a squig or whatever it's called.
His ability is to get framed for gambling that he's not actually doing.
And he gives suppression to Mon Mothma, and so you're like incentivized to like let him die off.
But I mean, there's definitely some other stuff like Vel, Centus could both be like operatives for sure.
Yeah, definitely. There's nothing like too like, oh, they would for sure need this ability. Like Vel and Cinta,
I feel like like some sort of like infiltrate. They would both. I mean, definitely have
quick thinking,
danger sense, maybe.
Yeah,
it would be like interesting too if they would be maybe in addition to being a separate unit, they might also have like a squad upgrade where it's like, okay, you can add these unique characters to rebel troopers or whatever, and then now that gives infiltrate to another squad or something, you know what I mean? Because they're like gathering these people together and taking them on a mission.
Yeah, since he gets like inspired 20.
Since they're like unique and cool characters, but not like big time characters, they would probably fit more like Pow and Bistan as like a heavy weapon upgrade that can be taken with any.
Yeah, I mean, really, like any of the guys from the Aldani squad could sort of fit that sort of role.
Yeah, I wish there were more unique characters like that. So I'm like, oh, this is my little rebel guys, but they're being led by, because there's Republic has some more of that with like fives and stuff, but
yeah, they don't have to all be operatives or something,
right?
And that's easy to fit it in your list,
like a personnel or a heavy upgrade to like that could fit into rebel troopers, rebel pathfinders, rebel veterans, even maybe, who knows,
I feel like the other big character that would fit well would be Deidre as an Imperial commander.
Yeah. What do you think you would give her that would make her not too close to Krennic? Because she seems very Krennic-like to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think she would. She wouldn't have entourage
with Death Troopers.
You know what I think she should have as an intelligence officer? She should have something where, like, and maybe this would be like way too powerful an ability, but it'd be real interesting if she had something like your opponent has to play their command card before you choose yours, or like she gets to.
I was literally thinking the exact same thing, yeah,
or something like that. Something that's sort of like involves her like intelligence gathering abilities and resources, or some ways where she can like manipulate order tokens, or even manipulate the enemy's order tokens to like something like that.
Yeah, or she could also have, because like her main through line is she's really interested in finding these two individuals. Maybe at the start of the game, it's not like bounty, but something similar, like I don't know, I've got my eye on you. Pick a enemy unique character, and they're marked with some kind of like Deidre's shitless token, and that just it basically, maybe it's like an observation token that just never goes away.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Or applies every round or something like that. Yeah, I think if we have Dedra, it's only natural that we have Cyril Karn, who has teamwork.
Well, I was going to say Cyril Karn now, but he would be like a
be like a
merc unit, that's
like a mercenary
only
commander, and he's really bad at everything.
But if he gets an order from
costs like 20 points.
Okay? If he's issued an order from another commander, he gets a big buff because he feels so special that somebody's like trusting him with something.
He has like 1 courage. He gets suppression really easy.
I don't know. I think he'd have 2 courage. He's not a coward. He's just a baby. I don't know. It's
but
weird.
see, that's the thing. It's like once he's like, but when he is presented with like actual combat, he freezes up.
He had his I'm a big hero moment.
in
He
the
felt so
season.
good about it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he has a command card that if Dedra's at range 1, he clears all his suppression, he jumps into action and like pulls her out of melee.
Yeah. He's got
a friendly Dedra
he's
gets
got special
disengaged.
ability, simping for Deirdre. That's it's like teamwork only simping.
Yeah, the teamwork would like simping would just be so teamwork basically it goes both ways. Simping would just go one way.
And it gives her a suppression every time he triggers it too. So she's like upset. And then, but you build it up really high, then you place a big command card. He gets his big moment.
He could have, just irritating coworker keyword that's at the start of the activation phase, all like friendly units within range 1 get a suppression token.
Now, your opponent, sort of like how what is it? Is it Anakin who he gets, they get the flaw card or whatever that your opponent can play at any time.
Yep.
Cyril, you give your opponent one that's like Cyril's mom.
Yeah, for sure.
He gets like a text message.
And it's like she comes and berates him and he gets like a bunch of negatives and stuff for that round.
Yeah.
I think another maybe not big character in the show, but one that would absolutely work for Legion would be Saw Gerrera and one of the tubes. I don't think we were ever explained which of the tubes.
Actually, when we were talking
was.
about Luthen, I was gonna say like I could see him then, being like like we talked about how if they ever I think in the past we've mentioned how Saw and his partisans ever came, they would almost be like their own battle force, like because they're not really gonna play with other rebels well.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you that like Luthen would have an ability, like you said, he kind of can bring these factions together and stuff to be like, if Luthen's your commander or whatever, then maybe you can bring the Saw's partisans into your army.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, I could see them being if
what
maybe
would
they're
they
a merc
do?
That's rebel only, or they're like you said, a battle force, something like that, so that they're not in the full rebel faction.
Yeah, I mean they could be like the Shadow Collective, where they're not really mercs. They have their own little faction symbol, that little like hand. So they could just have that. Saw's people have their own logo.
Yeah, like a black and white type of thing.
And then what I feel like they would, what would you give them that like played up their ruthlessness or their willingness to like sacrifice each other?
I don't know how you'd balance it necessarily, but I feel like you could do some type of self-damage or collateral damage type of thing where it's like take damage to now you gain a surge to hit token, or surge to crit or something.
You get like, you can like
to get an aim token
or to like even just like make a extra move or something like that. Or so that way you could like you take a damage, make a move, and then you do your move action and you've still got an action left over to attack,
and
things like that. Sort of like I would say like maybe like a constant ability that almost functions kind of similar to when Vader pops off his new ways to motivate them command card.
Oh yeah. Take a damage to get a bonus.
That would be really interesting because I think it would show that they're ruthless. They don't mind like damaging their own guys, but then they get this big offensive benefit from it.
Yeah, and then there's that. It's definitely like a cost, thing. It's not like, well, they get this thing, but they're taking damage. They're hurting themselves for you.
That could be interesting. Sometimes abilities like that are like hard to make good because you just it ends up being too much of a cost to kill your own guys off. But like sometimes that can be really fun and interesting. I think they've had a few abilities like that in X-Wing, and I think they're hard to balance, but it can be kind of interesting to be like, okay, I'm going to pay this cost so I can get a big attack off. Like that.
And cool. And I always feel like sometimes that also just depends on the player's skill too. Like for the longest time, like when I played Magic, there was like, lands that would be like take 1 damage to get either blue or green mana, and I would always be like, what if I just played a forest and an island, then I get blue or green mana and I don't have to take a damage. But having that ability is like, yeah, you take the damage, but it accelerates your game a whole lot more eventually, you realize, and stuff like that. So there's some possibility there for sure.
And like you said, 2 tubes would be cool. So maybe he's like a squad upgrade for a partisan squad. You know, you can add him as a squad leader. And
Well,
he
both
adds the
tubes. We need
sniper.
all 4 tubes.
Yeah, you could have. What if you had 2 characters that were both just called 2 tubes? It was like both brothers, and they were like a 2 dot instead of a unique. So you could take each 2 tube. That would be kind of fun. Like if you had 2 partisan squads.
I mean, you could just give them unique names but identical abilities.
Yeah,
Have the
I
same
feel
effect.
like
Yeah.
I feel like now that what's his face, is it Merrill, who's in the prison with Andor,
Melshi.
Cassian.
Melshi.
There we go. I feel like now that he's, he featured in a bunch of the episodes of the show, and he was in the movie, he needs to become, some kind of like an upgrade, similar to like
Just print a
to stand.
card because he already has a mini. I'm almost certain the squad leader for Pathfinders is modeled after him.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. What kind of ability do you think he would have on his card if they just added a card to use with that mini?
Swims real good.
He remembers people's names. That's
well, what he doesn't have too many lines in Rogue One. He goes, "Master Switch, describe what are we looking for?" So he's, detail oriented. He reminds me of myself when somebody tells me to do something. I'm like, I need you to use more words than that, please.
I mean, he is like very mission oriented, right? He's like, we got to get out. We got to get to the exit. We got to get to the switch, right? So something that would be like once per game, you get a free move to get into objective range.
He could even just, I mean, maybe he just does something like, like number 1, he would probably have like 2 hit points instead of 1. And maybe he just does something
boost,
like he has like coordinate or something like that.
Or teamwork with
because like he would have like coordinate trooper or something like that.
Yeah.
So you give his unit an order and they get to pass an order along to another trooper.
That would be good.
That.
That would, like you said, he's trying to plan the mission. So, I feel like being able to have better order control would, that's a good way to represent that.
Cash, aim, dodge would be good too. Just very simple, but makes him a much bigger threat.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
On the Imperial side, we got a fair amount of new troopers and stuff. We could, like some of the guards and stuff like that. We've got, some, very like Mimban mud trooper looking
I wonder
uniforms and stuff, but they're not exactly the same.
Yeah, if they're just kind of like, I don't know what you would call them, like just like stock infantry, like there's some level below stormtrooper as far as like their role.
Yeah, just Imperial Army trooper.
Yeah, and then those are the same. I think they looked the same. The guys who are basically the riot police. In the last
you could have like riot shields as an upgrade. Maybe that would be kind of interesting.
How could you make a worse stormtrooper?
Like when they're on Aldani, they had they were wearing like the armor and stuff they were wearing was it wasn't really quite the same as like either like stormtrooper or Mimban type trooper stuff. It was so again, that's and then they didn't have any helmets or anything. They just had like the normal caps and stuff. So there's a bit of variety that you could get in, sculpts. And I feel like, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know what you're going to do to really differentiate them from stormtroopers and stuff like that.
I guess they're cheaper. Maybe they don't have red dice defense.
You could just
some special keyword.
Take away their surge to hit or something.
Yeah. And then, give them an upgrade like you said, like riot shield would be interesting thing to see.
Yeah. They could have an emplacement trooper guy that goes with it. Like if you remember in the finale, there was a guy on like a weird like tank gun thing that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was almost like a little speeder cart with like a E-Web type blaster mounted on it.
Whatever that is would be kind of cool to get. Maybe it goes with them. Speaking of Imperial troopers, would it be, I know it doesn't really fit Legion, but what if you had prison guard trooper guys with the shock prods and the cool
And the boots.
boots.
And the moon boots.
Maybe
You can
there's
only
a
have 12 of them on the board.
Yeah.
yeah. And of course, to face them, you would need prisoners led by Kino Loy. They have like white dice, no surge, and
I mean, that's another thing that's kind of sad. Is I mean, there's some like Kino, he was a cool, interesting character and stuff like that, but he's just not going to fit in the game.
yeah.
That's why we
Other
need
than,
more
like-
card games and more skirmish games.
You would need like a special scenario, like
we'll have to
the
wait
terrain
for
scenarios.
Kino Loy to be added to the deck building game.
If we had like a prison terrain set and it came with a squad of guards and a squad of prisoners, and it was like a special Legion mini skirmish that was just those guys. I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but like I love their like uniforms and stuff. I like want to get them just to paint them, even though they don't really fit in the game at all.
How about a better Medroid, but it's Dr. Quadpaw?
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
Just
like,
a personnel
Dr.
upgrade.
Quadpaw would be a cool medic personnel upgrade.
How about a core unit that's a marching band?
For sure.
And they don't have any ranged weapons. They just have like a melee attack, but they have like Inspire 5.
It's a bard unit, a unit of bards.
Yeah,
And demoralize. They scare the enemy, right?
Yeah.
Too. And they could have a character upgrade for Brasso, and he comes with a brick melee weapon.
Yeah,
right?
so it's like, a red die surge to crit instead of like a black die.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I wish there were a way to, I don't know, maybe it'd be a command card or something. It'd be cool to, like, one of my favorite moments of the series was when the guys, everybody was like hitting the chimes and stuff to like scare off the enemy troopers and stuff. And then like, it's like increasing the stress on the enemy. Like, could that be some type of generic command card that's like, all the all the civilian people that you can't see on the map are like scaring the Empire off by making this noise. So that would
I
be
feel like
fun.
that could maybe be like a Cassian like command card.
Yeah,
one, called like, I don't know, like Daughters of Ferrix or something like that. Or
Yeah, that would make sense to me.
I mean, it could just be similar to Annihilation Looms.
Yeah,
Krennic's command card, but it only
it
targets
doesn't
like one
give
side.
any stress to your own guys.
Yeah.
or maybe it only gives you stress the turn after the card, right? Because it's after the sound stops.
Stress like we're playing X-Wing suppression.
And speaking of like that moment too, I really want Corpo guys as a unit. They don't fit as well as Stormtroopers, obviously, but like maybe they're another unit that's like a mercenary that's only Imperial. They would work with the Empire, but they're kind of separate. You can't order them as easily, and they don't have very good armor and
They're
stuff.
the sort of thing where they could maybe be taken by like the Republic also.
Yeah,
if they're a corporate entity, maybe even the CIS. I mean, I feel like they're the sort of thing that in that era there was probably kind of some of that on both sides of things. But
yeah, I would think so. That would be cool.
Cyril would definitely be Empire only, though.
Yeah. And the
I feel
Sergeant
like they
or
would
whatever,
be,
he's maybe a squad upgrade for them. That would be cool.
I think it'd be sort of interesting if they were like a sort of like they're kind of a weak unit, but like they have like they're good at handing out extra suppression. Like they have suppressive weapons. They maybe have like intimidation or whatever that ability is that can give suppression to other enemy units nearby them.
Demoralize.
Is it, or fear or something? I don't know.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. They're not really an offensively strong or tough unit, but they are kind of trotted out to like scare people into submission. I think that's really cool. And unlike a lot of squads out there, we've seen the different weapons they have. They have just like DC-17 pistols or something, but then they had like the heavy weapon guy upgrades. That would be cool. You could have the sergeant guy as a cool upgrade with some
the first
cool
man to
keywords.
say shit. That's his keyword. Shit.
It reminds me of having the wing guard guys in Imperial Assault. I love having these non-faction guys. They're like still kind of troopers. It's kind of a fun thematic thing, and I do really like having them in Republic or CIS. I think that's a great idea too. Another Imperial unit we saw in the show very briefly that would be cool to get as a unit would be KX droids.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I guess they don't have guns, so they're some kind of melee squad. But we've seen them in this obviously Rogue One, and we've seen them in Jedi Fallen Order, right?
Yeah.
So we know that they're like a strong melee guy that can run up and beat some guys down.
Yeah, they will beat the shit out of you in that game if you're not careful.
Yeah. And maybe they have some way to immobilize people. I guess maybe just getting into melee is enough to kind of immobilize an enemy troop. But yeah, it would be interesting. Maybe they have a way to demoralize, kind of like you're saying with the Corpo guys, because they're really there to kind of suppress and control people more than be a strong battlefield unit. So maybe there's some role for them like that they're kind of a, most of the melee only units are not that good unless they're like really powerful Jedi or something, right? But maybe there's some role for them there, and it'd be cool to have more droid units.
And then I think we should step away from Legion for a sec, and let's talk about now that we've gotten more than just in the background of Solo. Let's get the
Cantwell class arrestor cruiser.
Even though I think it's a really ugly ship, it's still less ugly than the Onager. I will say that. So I would actually buy one of those for my Imperial fleet. I do not own an Onager still. It's the only Imperial ship I don't own.
I like the Onager. I think. I'm pretty sure Colin Cantwell.
Like the ugliest ship in the galaxy.
I feel like when Solo came out, Colin Cantwell was like, they were like, "We finally added your Star Destroyer," and he's like, "Why? It's ugly." Or maybe that was that one, or the I don't remember the name of it. There was a background ship in Return of the Jedi that they added to Rogue One, and fully rendered it.
The Brahatok class Dornian gunship that's not ugly and it's really cool.
That one is the one that they told the model maker that, hey, we rendered this for Rogue One, and he was like, but why? It's gross. I'm not super proud of that one. There's a reason we kept it in the background of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, that sounds more like it, because what you said doesn't sound like Colin Cantwell. Like, he was always, I'm the guy who invented the X-Wing. I'm the guy who invented the Star Destroyer. I invented,
Yeah, I think that would be really cool in Armada, though. Mostly I want a model of it, but it's kind of interesting to think about the stats because, you wouldn't want it to step too much on the toes of an interdictor.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, tractor beam is the main thing it does.
Yeah, I was going to say it. I mean, in the show, it implied that tractor beaming is its speciality.
It could also be like a sensor, like an AWAC, like a spy thing. Mm-hmm. Like maybe it just lets you peek at an opponent's ship dial or something.
Yeah, I could see, if you did want to do tractor beam stuff with it, I could see it being maybe it's good at tractoring squadrons and less at capital ships. I guess we maybe don't know the length of it for sure. I think it's on the small-ish. Yeah, not tiny, but it's not big.
Because compared to Luthen's ship, it didn't. I mean, it was obviously much bigger than Luthen's ship, but it didn't look like.
It's not like Star Destroyer size. It's like maybe Arquitins or something, right? So it's not going to be as good at capturing large ships as an interdictor. So yeah, maybe it has something about moving squadrons around or something like that.
Yeah. And speaking of Luthen's ship, now his is the thing you could see in either Armada or X-Wing.
For sure.
I want that for X-Wing. I really like that ship.
It has some the cool design abilities, of it is really neat.
It's very Star Wars-y, where it's asymmetrical and weird looking.
It actually the general it reminds me a lot of the Sith agent
scimitar
ship in
Old Republic.
In the Old Republic, the MMO.
Interesting.
I think it kind of looks like a decimator in a way, but
Yeah, kinda.
I think that you'd have a lot of fun with upgrades for it, like unique upgrades that only it can take, right? Because it has its sort of lightsaber wing things that come out. Figuring out how to do the rules for that would be really cool. Maybe a bomb upgrade, or maybe it's like an
Yeah, I
illicit or
feel like it
something
would
for
just be like
dropping.
if you were at like range 0 of a ship and they're in your side arc, you could do some damage to them or something like that, you know?
Do a really cool attack. Yeah, maybe it's like a bullseye arc that's on your side.
How often is it going to happen where you, I mean, you would have to really work to arrange yourself to make sure that someone bumps into the side of you so you can.
Yeah, I think it would be hard to write the rules for it so that it feels like what happened in the show, but also feels useful in the game. Because it'd be actually really hard to line that up. But if you pulled it off, it would be like fun to try, right?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be fun to like drop flechettes or whatever on people behind you. That's like obviously like a bomb upgrade. That'd be kind of cool. And I feel like we've already seen this on other ships, but we know it has like a droid mind built in. So there's upgrade cards for that on like TIE brutes and different things, right? You could have some type. You could like
calculate
switch the personality
and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be a cool upgrade slot. Like, oh, what kind of droid do you want on it? That'd be kind of interesting. Were there any other ships that we really saw?
I mean, there's the ship that Cassian flies like in like the first episode, and then
some of those junker things
escape in the
with like the Y-wing engines.
Finale. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it seemed like it was like an ugly because those look like Y-wing nacelles on the sides.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you don't really know that. They don't really say much about that ship. Well, other than the fact that doesn't when they're looking at like the traffic map, they say something like, "Oh yeah, this ship passed through, and it's like an old as fuck ship or something like that."
Yes.
Yeah, when they reveal that he was Cassian's dad. Oh no, Evan's back. We spoiled him.
Wait, what? Darth Vader is actually. Damn, who saw that coming? So did y'all have fun?
Yes.
I think that's actually pretty good timing.
Yeah, we were running
starting to run out a little bit.
Usually, it would have been like an hour and a half. Just not as much material.
Well, the thing
there's a lot of material actually.
The thing is, there's a lot of cool stuff in the show that doesn't necessarily fit into Legion, though, because it's not a show about armies clashing and stuff.
I was really wondering what y'all were so excited to talk about, like Andor in Legion. Just what I know about it, I'm like, really?
We did have plenty of stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
We also jumped a little bit into Armada and X-Wing.
And if
very fair.
There's some cool ships that do make appearances.
This will probably be a continued series of what sort of stuff from this could be in Legion for people listening. If you like this, like what sort of stuff from Star Wars Rebels should be in Legion, or whatever. If there's a thing,
those pigs that they're
puffer pigs
rounding up with Lando.
Yeah, puffer pigs.
Yeah,
a unique scenario. You have to get the pig, but if it blows up,
then
wait! No, you got to save
scatter
this
dice
for the actual episode.
Let's not get into it yet. I'm taking notes.
Puffer pigs.
Scatter dice.
Make a note of that.
Yep. Check it out. All right. Well, if y'all are feeling good about that, we will close this out. Thank you all for doing a podcast with me here tonight. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, patronizers, and the millions listening around the world. And unless anybody else has any final thoughts, is that a thing that the kids remember? Final thoughts from which talk show was that? Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer used to have final thoughts.
We obviously don't remember, so
apparently not.
Wow.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't watch Jerry Springer.
I watched
kid.
one Jerry Springer Too Hot for TV special
On VHS.
for a very specific reason, and I've never watched any other Jerry Springer. So
I thought that was like one of those known things. Just like, here are my final thoughts. Like everyone knew what that was.
Whatever happened to him? Is he still doing a show? Did he
I don't
die?
think so.
Is he
was
just retired?
He was governor, wasn't he? Of like
What?
Cincinnati or something like that.
Yes,
governor of Cincinnati.
Governor of a city.
I meant mayor.
Oh, he started a new show called Judge Jerry, of course.
Of course.
Well,
all right.
anyways,
Well,
we're not talking about Jerry Springer being in Legion.
We're not.
That's next episode.
that would be a very interesting scenario.
That's the next episode.
He shuts down Vader and Luke, and he's like, "Are you the
It's
father?"
been
We have to
1
figure
week
out
since we got to see.
the stats of that the bouncer guy that was on his show.
Yeah.
I never really watched it, but I know there's that the bouncer guy who's like Jerry's sidekick.
Yeah. And the topic of the day would be like a card you introduce in the second round, and then it causes your units to fight each other. Pay attention, AMG. Okay, that's it. I promise. I didn't come back just for that crap. All right, have a good night, everybody. And I don't want to say we'll see you soon, but maybe. I don't know. It all depends.
I hope so.
I've already. I will say this. I have already been told multiple times that we have to do a Padawan the Knight and the Master for Andor. So I am my hand is being forced. Like if this wasn't enough, then that's what's going to get me to sit down and just watch the whole thing over a weekend because
Well, good, because also it's
I've been
absolutely like something that you'll enjoy immensely.
probably. Yeah.
Not
I'm sure you're
probably.
right.
I guarantee you.
I am sure you are correct. Okay, bye! Bye, everybody! Thanks for coming! See you around the neighborhood! Y'all just went to sleep on me.
Well, you were doing your outro. I didn't want to,
You're
doing
doing
a
a
bit.
No,
of
the
stuff.
outro is sacred ground like Highlander, but the intro is the begin is the parking garage
No,
beneath
I'm the curtain,
wrestling.
and I don't give a shit about
Okay.
Holy Ground.
Got it.